Hi guys, welcome to this video. This is Dr.M.MOORTHI working as assistant professor in the Department of Automobile Engineering, SNS College of Technology, Coimbatore. In this video, we are going to discuss about topic called a simple fixed venture carburetor. So this is the lecture series of automotive engines and emission control, and then we have different lecture videos in this series, and then so here we're going to discuss about a simple venture carburetor and the construction and working principle. So see here, this is the construction of a simple venture carburetor where the fuel tank will supply the fuel, and then at the same time the air also enter into the carburetor, and then with the air and fuel are mixed in the proper ratio and the desired or required ratio into the combustion chamber. So this is the basic requirement, and then they are working of the any carburetor where the fuel is stored in the fuel tank, and then air is sucked, atmospheric air is sucked into the chamber, and then fuel from the tank is again is supplied, and then with the throttle valve the air and then fuel are mixed properly and then on the required ratio and then supplied to the engine. So this is the simple diagram. We see the fuel is stored into the fuel tank, and then also the atmospheric air is again it is sucked into the chamber, and then with the fuel injector, and the fuel is injected, and then it is formed as the atomization process taking place, and then with the air and fuel is properly mixed in the mixing chamber with the help of throttle valve, and then this when the combustion process is taking place or in the vehicle is in the able to run, and then it is this air fuel ratio is supplied to the engine. So the process of preparing a combustible air fuel mixture outside engine cylinder is known as carburation. So it consists of fuel jet of small diameter placed in a constructed tube called venture or choke tube. So the fuel pump delivers fuel from the fuel tank to the float chamber. So when sufficient fuel enters the float chamber, the float is lifted due to buoyancy, and then conical need valve engages and the struts of the fuel supply. If the fuel level tends to fall, the float drops and thereby opens needle valve, thus admitting more fuel. So the float chamber vented to atmosphere a small hole so that the pressure on the surface of the fuel remains constant and equal to that atmosphere. So at the throat of a venture tube, area of the cross section is minimum where the fuel discharge jet is situated. So air thus inducted increases its velocity from inlet and become maximum at the throat, whereas the pressure at the throat is below atmosphere. So due to the pressure difference, the fuel is forced out of inject, where it mixes with high velocity air and atomized and finally passed through the engine via throttle valve. And then with that we have so many components, and then the main components such as the float chamber, float, nozzle, venturi, throttle valve, inlet valve, and then a meeting jet. And in the float chamber, a constant level of petrol is maintained by the float and the needle valve. So the float chamber is ventilated to atmosphere. So this is used to maintain atmospheric pressure inside the chamber. So the float, which is normally a metallic hollow cylinder, rises and closes the inlet valve as the fuel level in the float chamber increases to certain level. So the mixing chamber contains venturi, nozzle and throttle valve. The venturi tube is fitted with the inlet manifold. So this tube has a narrow opening called venturi. A nozzle is provided just below the center of this venturi. So the nozzle keeps the same level of petrol as that of level in the float chamber. The mixing chamber has two butterfly valves. So one is to allow air into the mixing chamber, known as choke valve, and the other is to allow air fuel mixture to the engine, known as throttle valve. So this is how the each parts have the significant role in the carburetor. So when the suction stroke vacuum is created inside the chamber at the cylinder, this create pressure difference between cylinder and outside the carburetor. So due to this, the atmosphere air enters into the carburetor, so the air flows through the venturi. So the venturi increases the velocity of air and reduce the pressure. So this produces the partial vacuum at the tip of the nozzle. Because of this vacuum, the fuel comes out from the nozzle in the form of fine spray. So these fine fuel particles mix with the incoming air to form air fuel ratio. Thus it gives the homogeneous mixture of air fuel to the engine. So when the combustion process taking place, or when the suction process starting, or the suction stroke, the air fuel ratio will is fed into the combustion chamber through throttle valve from the carburetor. So this is how the air fuel ratio is mixed, or the air and fuel is mixed in the proper ratio in the carburetor. And when the combustion process is taking place, the air fuel ratio is fed into the combustion chamber with the help of throttle valve. Thank you.